I actually think, today's data was quite interesting. It tells me that, markets probably gotten a little bit too bearish in the near term about, the amount of China stimulus that's coming through. So I know Q2 data looks really bad.
So you're saying they're getting too bearish about the amount of stimulus coming through,
yes.
which means they're underestimating the amount that's coming through. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. And if you look at today's data, yes, Q2 data is pretty bad. But if you look specifically in June data, the industrial production numbers are coming in above expectations. You've got fixed asset investments coming through above expectations as well. And those two things tends to be where the government starts pulling levers, right? You've got your infrastructure investment coming through in bits and pieces. That's obviously impacting manufacturing to a certain extent, but also industrial production numbers as well. That sort of coincides with PMI numbers that's come through with the construction side of the equation being slightly above estimates as well. You have this structural 2 to 3 years worth of struggle and growth, as the government tries to transition growth drivers. But more importantly, they are always there to ensure that growth doesn't fall too much. So the struggle will be in meeting that growth target, but the stimulus will come through in bits and pieces and just enough to hit their growth targets, as opposed to overly outperforming it.
But isn't then the concern as we have, and it's isn't just a China problem, this is any manufacturing problem in terms of India, everyone else, in terms of their external demand is starting to dry up considerably. Isn't it a concern that if they don't stimulate enough on the consumption side because of the external mitigating factors outside of their control, that's where the risk lies?
That is definitely where the risk lies. So I do expect that you're going to get, we've already started with some parts of stimulus, I would call them stimulus, but policy easing coming through, right? We've had them in the monetary policy rate. We've had them in the property sector just over the weekend. We're going to start seeing more fiscal come through. And I do think that, you're going to get drip feeding until around sort of mid-August, where they're going to start getting really desperate and you'll see bigger sort of easing come through. I'm still not looking for the big sort of 16-point package we got last year, but we will get more and more desperate measures coming through until we hit that at least 5% target we've got. And the truth of the matter is, market until maybe this morning, consensus was still at 5.5% for GDP growth this year. So, to that extent, are we overestimating where they want growth to be? We probably are. But then, in terms of near-term stimulus, we tend to seem to be very, very bearish as well.